Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Week 9 Misfit Toy Fantasy Football League recap show. No intro music today. The microphones have just been too scratchy. I think it's killing you guys' ear, so I was going to save you guys that stress. Plus, I'm going to show you a clip from a movie that reminded me of my matchup with Brad this week, and so that's going to be enough torture for your ears with these bad microphones anyway. So no intro music. As you can see behind me, I still have my Mike White picture from last week. Remember, I changed my name to Mike White Gaga. Didn't turn out so hot. Mr. Mike White got hurt in the first quarter. He was on pace to have a great game, but only got me 11 points. And so Chase Edmonds also got hurt in the first play of the game. So I lost two of my guys right away. But I'll get to my matchup with Brad in a second to kind of explain that and set up the movie clip I got. So before that, I'm going to change back to my normal fantasy football background. Looking good here. So anyways, without further ado, let's get to this week's scoreboard, as we had some good matchups and some not so good matchups per usual here. We had Ankeny Natron with a 145-116 win over KP. We had Elliott squeaking by Team Thiele time 158-156. Thiele didn't have a very good game from his star QB Josh Allen, who I asked earlier at lunch this week if he wanted to trade for. That would help me have a little bit more breathing room on Brad. But anyways, he didn't have a much better game than Mike White, who only played one quarter. But Elliott hung on for a win there. You had Fail Mary 182 over Tyler McDonald 148. Leanne hanging around. She's hanging around that division lead with a 138-107 win over Darren. And Angie Lutnager, the 125-104 win over Christine. In the game of the week, you had the division leaders, Nick and Jazzy Sports Balls against Team Des Burrito and Coach Tommy Cotter. Nick pulled out a 147-132 victory. He just keeps rolling along, moving to 7-2. And Tommy dropped to 5-4, and that seeding. We'll get to the playoff bracket here in a little bit, and you'll see how much each game is important. Then we get to my game with Brad and last minute lineup. Brad was true to his name. He was the last minute lineup. I joked not to set his lineup this week. So you know what? He kind of obliged. He left out his starting quarterback. He left out his number one running back. So usually his two highest scorers. Neither one were in the lineup. So you think, Mike White Gaga this week had a road to an easy victory, huh? Well, you think that, but not quite, as Brad didn't have two guys in the lineup. I lost two guys to injury, and my other guys, Tyreek Hill, Debo Samuel, those guys all underperformed. And so I was left going into that last Monday night game, the percentage loser. I think Brad was 62% chance of winning that game. And so, but the whole time it reminded me of the movie Kingpin. If you haven't seen Kingpin, it is hilarious. It is offensive and at times. And if you're highly offended, maybe don't watch it. But I think it's hilarious. Bill Murray, Woody Harrelson. Anyways, it reminded me of the last scene. There's a quote at the end of the scene. I'm going to show you the whole scene just because Bill Murray is fantastic. But I said something to Tommy Cotter about this quote walking in one day. And this is the quote in my head the entire time as I was watching, as I was feeling Brad maybe beating me with a handicap with two guys down. But anyways, we'll set up the clip here. If I can get this thing out of the way. So Kingpin's a bowling movie. You got Big Ern McCracken, Bill Murray right here. You got Roy Munson, Woody Harrelson right here. This is their final match. And Big Ern needs one strike to pull off the win here.
One strike. $1 million.
I'm back. Sorry, my lights went off. So I got to do that here. We're going to keep that in the take as well. So there's no sound here at all. So sorry if your speakers are screeching. There's just going to be some music. So maybe I'll talk about there is no sound as Big Ern goes through his hilarious approach here. His hair is looking fantastic. So in this scene, you'd think I was Woody because Brad had the guys going, but I'm actually Big Ern, not wanting to lose to Roy Munson. Because as you'll see coming up here, and if you've seen the movie, you know Roy Munson has a handicap that kind of really need in bowling. Bigger and Bill Murray. Just hilarious in this role. Probably my favorite role Bill Murray's ever played. But here's the handicap. So Roy doesn't have a hand. He normally plays with that hook. And that's kind of leading to the quote coming up here in Big Ern's post victory interview here. That's the quote that kept running through my head as Brad almost beat me without two of his best players. So that's the line. I didn't want to get beat by a guy with a hook. I know that could be offensive, so sorry if you're offended by that. I do know someone very well that has a hook for a hand, and so I don't want to offend them either if they happen to watch this. But anyways, that was the line going through my head. I don't want to lose to a guy with a hook. I didn't want to lose to a guy not starting his quarterback and not starting his running back one. But anyways, I was able to hang on as we went that long way just to get to the score of Mike White Gaga in last minute lineup. I hung on for a 101-93 win. I was still sweating on that last drive for the Steelers. If one of those Najee Harris or Deontay Smith had caught, or not Deontay Smith, Johnson, whatever his name is, had caught a pass for a touchdown, I would have lost still. So it was funny to me. If it's not funny to you, I apologize for going through all that. But this reminded me of Kingpin. I mentioned it to Coach Cotter on the way in one day, and yeah, I didn't want to lose to a guy with a hook. So I held on for the victory, though. So I digress like I do every week. I always get caught on something. But let's get to the standings here. In the East, Nick and Jazzy Sports Balls continues to win 7-2. I sent him a text message earlier this week and said that he might secure that number one seed, but he can't get too comfortable because I have a personal vendetta to take him down, even though I have no control over what's going on with the guys. Obviously, with this week, as you thought I had an easy win, but I barely pulled it off. In second place, Der Douche Blitzkrieg is the tiebreaker over me, as Liam beat me head-to-head. But we're both 6-3 a game back. Brad at 4-5 is 3 games back, along with Angie at 4-5. And Team Christine and Team KP are 5 games back at 2-7. Those two, along with Tyler, are in the highest competition for the Sacco, which hopefully Thomas Cotter gets that thing going. Maybe we'll have a little speech from him coming up on how that Sacco's coming. In the West, it is a logjam. Elliot, my 3-year-old son, if you don't know that, he is 6-3. He has the lead right now. Then you got Justin Fields of Dreams, Team Desperito, Fail Mary, and Ankeny Natron, all 5-4 a game back. Team Teely is 2 games back at 4-5, and then Tyler McDonald is 2-7. So when we get to the playoffs, the winner of each division is the 1 and the 2 seed. So the East could have possibly the 3 best teams in it right now with me, Leanne, and Nick. But one of us will be the 3 and one will be the 4. So we'll see how it all plays out, as you'll see here in a second. When we get to the playoff bracket, you'll see what happens week to week in the playoff bracket, as Nick would be the 1 seed with a bye. Last week, Tommy Cotter would have been the 2 seed in a bye. But this week, it's Elliot would be the 2 seed. Tommy would drop to the 6 seed and play Teely Time, the 11 seed. That winner would take on Leanne, the 3 seed, or Team KP, the 14 seed. The 7-10 matchup will be Lisa. Sorry, holy cow, I'm struggling today. Lisa and Phil Mary and Angie with the 7-10. And on the other side of the bracket, you'd have the 9-8 matchup. Would be Brad the 9, Nathan the 8, Tyler the 12, Darren the 5, Christine the 13 versus me the 4, and then we go to the bottom half of the bracket. So anyways, I kind of been all over the place this week. Make sure you set those lineups. As we didn't look forward to the matchups yet, I'll try and get through that really quickly here. You got me, Brady Gaga. I'm back to Brady Gaga, as you'll see in a second. Mike White, thank you for what you did for me last week. You helped me pull off the victory, but when Tom Brady's in the lineup, I mean, he's the best player in the league. He's got to be in there. I'm favored over Fail Mary, 186-100. Jazzy Sports Ball is favored over Nathan, 173-158. And a good looking matchup here, Team Desperito and Elliot. Right now, Desperito's favored 168.7 to 167.1. So looking at the projections, that could be a good one. Team Teely Time favored over Tyler, 169-128. That auto draft was not nice to Tyler, as he is fighting for the Sacco in his first year. Then you got Darren and Team Christine. Right now, Christine favored 155 to 123. and Angie favored over KP 140 126. This matchup is intriguing as Derdush Blitzkrieg versus last minute lineup. And Brad, right now, Leanne is favored 124.2 to 124.0. Both have a couple of guys on bye, so I'm sure they'll fill that lineup up and it'll look a little bit different. But each game is going to matter as we go through, as asked Tommy Cotter, who dropped from the 2 seed to the 6 seed in 1 week. Playoffs are coming up. We'll explain, though. We'll have a special playoff edition show coming up as well to let you know how that's going and that's going to play out. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the Kingpin clip. Like I said, fantastic movie. It's hilarious. If you like Bill Murray, if you like stupid comedy, and you haven't seen it, I advise you to check it out. If you have seen it, watch it again. It holds up for sure. So until next week, we are back to Go Brady Gaga and no exit music, because I hurt your ears enough with that speaker earlier. Let's get you a good look at Tom Brady as Bruce the Buccaneer here. Go Brady Gaga. We'll see you next week.